What's going on, car guys and car gals? It's Lou Ramirez, the car guy.
And it's Frelin Arts, subprime hero.
And we have this incredible solutionary that you see right here that is brewing solutions inside of the cafe today. Make sure that you do yourselves a favor and help us out and tag a car guy.
Tag a car guy.
And share. Let's get this around because this is about to be an incredible brew that might just get you shaking in your shoes. And we can't wait to bring her out here on the stage with us today. I'm pumped up about this because this is a sister that really does love to shake it on the dance floor, but also shake it up in the industry. And we're just honored to have her inside of the cafe today. What about you, Fred?
She's beyond excited. This is somebody, when we first met her very in person at the digital deal last year in Tampa, we got to hang out with her. We got to dance with her. I know you got a great video of you two dancing together, which was amazing. Just, you know, there were so many things that brought us together. I think dancing was the biggest thing, though. I think we communicated with the language of dance and music, and there's something special about that when you could find that that relationship, that type of chemistry, that frequency that we're on, that we just know no matter what it is that she's doing, whether it's dancing, business, friendships, moderating events, and doing amazing things that I've been seeing Sandy do throughout the last year, of watching her do some stuff for not just for herself. Matter of fact, it's never been for herself. It's always been for others. And that's what's so special about her. That is why she inspires me. That is why she's a solutionary in my heart and will always be. And that is why I'm so excited that we get to have her here today for this 5-liner, because, man, I tell you, something special about this lady, and I can't wait to hear the rest of her story. We had her on the show once. We had her with the Wokan crew. It was amazing to have her on the show. It was a blessing, but today it's all about her. But again, I got a feeling it's going to be about everyone else, like it always is. And I'm excited to talk about that. Let's get this thing going.
Let's go ahead and
let's get her on the screen.
We can't just get her in here just on the mute, right? We got to have that music moving with us. So car guys and car gals, help make sure that you do keep sharing this around, but make welcome the one, the only, Sandy Zannino.
Love it.
Welcome,
so excited to have you here today. It's a blessing to have you here. Woo. Welcome to the cafe. How are you today?
I am so great, and I'm the blessed one.
Oh, see what I mean? See what I mean?
So incredible.
I love her for it.
Yes.
Your heart is so huge, and it just outpours with
just
just
like
love and passion for the business, for people in general, just people. And when you find love with somebody, I know how you are. You're there for them. You got their back. You will always be. I can imagine how you were growing up, all your friends and your homies and everything. You had their back, probably to the point of like, let's get these earrings out. Let's go knuckles if we have to, because I got your back like that, right?
That's right.
And I stories.
I guarantee it. I know that passion inside you tells me. Yeah, there's no doubt.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious. You know, and I got to tell you, I love the whole. You're like the beginning. It's got like a little shimmy in there.
That's right. That's right. Heck yeah. Well, we know how to get inside of the rhythm together. Car guys, car gals, true story. We did not really even know each other yet. We were getting familiar with all of the surroundings that were happening at Digital Dealer inside of 2021. And it was the first time that everybody was out there. So we were pumped up, have an awesome DJ. Great job to everybody that put on that first event for us all to get out there and get going with. But you just asked for somebody to hit play or hit record, right?
Yeah, because I was, you know, they had that DJ right in the front. And, you know, I do my dance break videos, which I haven't done one in a while. I need to come on with the, you know, so because of my broken foot. Anyway, I was setting up. I was like, well, I'm going to do a dance break video here. And I was setting up, and I think I asked you to push play. I was testing it. I was really just testing to see how it would work so I could like come out from behind the Digital Dealer side. And it was a great song. And you push play for me, Lou. And we just started dancing. And it was like we choreographed it. It was awesome.
It was. It looked a little bit like this. Just a little bit, right?
I love it. That is so what I'm talking about.
And again, we did not choreograph. We did not prepare anything. We just said, you want to dance? I like to dance. Let's dance. I like dancing. And we just started to have a good time. And that's exactly, I mean, I was in Disneyland that event, right? That was our first coming out into the industry. And we were so excited. And here's this awesome music just going, and oh my gosh, it was such a great moment. And now it set the tone to feel free to do that everywhere, always, right? And take it to the next level. And you even jumped in with us at the next digital dealer, and you were wheeling around with us, right? You were still on your scooter, coming around. It was awesome.
That was fun. Yeah, if there's music, I have to be dancing. And I love what Fred talks about. For me, it is a connection. I've always connected some of my closest friends. Friends that I made on the dance floor, right? And
100%, because it takes confidence. There's something about people who will get on a dance floor, people who will step up in front of anyone and just move their body carelessly. I don't care if you can dance or not. At the end of the day, you can, because you're out there. That's all it's about. It's about feeling what you feel and just go with it and have a good time. And those people I connect with very deeply. I do. I grew up around that, going to the club as a young man. I don't do it no more. But when I was younger, I used to go to the club. And when I was at the club, I mean, I go dancing with us when we're out, right? You know the deal. I'm still going to hit the dance floor with you every time. That's what I do. But you know what I mean? Like, when I was younger, that's all I did. I would go and I'd leave so sweaty, like I worked out, like I did Zumba for like 2.5, 3 hours, and I didn't care. I was like, psh, I wasn't there for anything but that connection I met with people on the dance floor. I would connect with men, women. It was just, you'd be out there, you could just see them, and you had this respect. And the ones that were just out there, just giving it their all, and you would just see each other, and you'd be like, yeah, you just know the feeling. And it's just, and then when you get in sync with somebody, like you just found with him, with Lou, there's something special about when you find that person on the dance floor, and every movement is just like, dang, okay, how do you know where I'm going, right? And it just works out. And that is that energy, that's that connection, that's that frequency that you find with only so many people. But when you do, it's super special, and you just want to hold on to it. Thus is why you will be family with us forever, Sandy. Oh,
I love it. I love it. Thank you.
You're rocking a shirt that has the best dance moves, I believe, out there for anybody that wants to make sure that they keep growing. And that's to forgive, focus, and fly. And we honor that you're honoring that shirt, but you represent that message. And we're going to get into this 5-liner. So before we do, we got to get this rocking and rolling on the forgive, focus, fly message. So help us out, Sandy, on the Car Guy Coffee podcast. It's really happening on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Forgive, focus, fly, and keep growing, That's
there
right.
We go. Now we are ready to start this interview.
Oh, this is so great. This 5-liner is 5 questions we love to ask everyone that we run into on this show, because I believe it helps other people see how great this industry really is, how it could take you to new levels, how you truly are fulfilled by helping so many others at every level of this industry. You've seen a lot of different levels. You're a master at HR and so many things like that. I believe you're deeper. You're marketing, you're planning, you're in your heart. Oh, it's second to none. And I believe that's why you excel at everything you do. That being said, my number one question, what drives you to be that way? What makes you want to be the best Sandy that you could possibly be?
Well, like so many of us, and I hear you, both of you, talk about your family. I have my daughter is really my why for everything that I do. Oh no, wait a minute. I can't hear you.
Well, we can hear you. No,
we can hear you.
I can hear you now. I can hear you now. My daughter, she's the why. And I think I was also just kind of born where I want to make a difference. I was just born that way.
You do, and you do make a difference. You make a difference in so many ways. That smile, that laugh, those glasses, that confidence, right? You have so much swag about you. It's amazing, and you do it without any worry. And maybe we do. I think we all sort of do. But at the end of the day, you show a different thing to people. You show the younger generation, the current generation, our generation, that, hey, be you to the fullest, because when you are, you're so much more happier, and that you represent that so well. And I think your why ties right into that, and I think that what you're doing right now is growing, and you're hitting, we all go through growth spurts in our lives, right? And it happens at different levels. And I see
some have less than others.
You've been growing for a long time. I went back, read your credentials, seen what you've been, where you've gone. I love your story, but right now I see something special happening. Just to tie into this why, what's exciting right now currently happening in your world that's different than it was a year from now?
Oh my gosh. Well, I wouldn't say a year ago. It's really funny. Well, you know that I am have been like the #1 fan of Wokan since the beginning, right? And Carrie Wise has become a good friend. Erica has become a good friend, and Amanda and Patrice. And it's funny because diversity, equity, and inclusion has always been. I mean, I've been doing trainings. In 2018, I pulled up an old training that I did, and a part of my manager training was on unconscious bias. You know, these are things that have always been important to me. My daughter is a young woman of color, you know, but that's just the way I've kind of been this way, right?
Right.
I woke up this way.
Baby, I was born this way.
But that doesn't mean that, you know, what that means is that I learn. So I learn every day. I try, and that I'm driven by learning. That's one of my drivers, really. Like, I'm never done. Dear God, if I'm done, if I know it all, I'm not on this earth anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for me, that's just kind of how I am, you know. So that's one of the really super exciting things I did get as an HR professional. I've been, you know, working in HR for 20 years. Became certified in 2010, I think. But I recognized, you know, after the murder of George Floyd in 2020, obviously the whole world just kind of realized, okay,
yeah,
time to do something, right?
What a major moment in history. Major moment.
It really was. Not that those moments hadn't happened before, they just hadn't happened so visibly.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think
100%.
Amen. It's because it's definitely been happening, and it's still happening at the end of the day. It really is.
Yeah. I mean, and it those things, just like Selma, you know, it wasn't until movement happens when finally there is a critical mass of understanding. That, like,
there you go.
You know, the same thing happened when MLK was coming over the bridge in Selma, right? Like, the Civil Rights Act was passed after, I think after that, and after the world was like, because that was on TV.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Anyway, so you know, when that happened, what I recognized is that I was not prepared, wasn't equipped as an HR professional to lead diversity, equity, and inclusion change within an organization, to help organizations that recognized a need and that they wanted to do something, but just didn't know where to start. Right. So in 2020, I also took, it was a 3-month, it was long, it was intense, my certification. I'm pretty proud of it. And so I have a framework. So, you know, I'm excited to do this work.
And there's a lot of people that have laid a framework for us, and you're hoping to lay a framework for a next generation. I love that you even said it that way, because there's so much to build on, right? There's so much that we get to learn from, and everything that you're using inside of your why to help make sure that diversity, equity, and inclusion is happening everywhere, right? You're quoting some or pointing out some incredible people that have really paved the way. I want to participate even on the music side. The great Oracle Michael Jackson saying, if you're thinking about being my brother, it don't matter if you're black or white. Right? And there's that element of hey, let's make sure that we're very clear. What I love about that, because that's what was on the screen when we were kids, right? Is that ultimately we have to start healing the world by opening up ourselves to the culture of everybody else in order to love them. I don't even have to love your culture in order to love you, right? That doesn't necessarily have to be part of what it is that we take on. But first I take on the person. First we like, again, I keep going back to Michael Jackson parts, right? But he's making sure that we beat our swords into plowshares, right? That
didn't sound like Michael Jackson.
That was in Heal the World, right?
I didn't know that.
And go ahead.
Well, I just have to tell you, I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan.
No.
We
Oh,
way.
I have the Opus. If it wasn't so heavy, I have a giant book after he died. It's a collector's item. Like, it's huge.
Yeah.
I saw MJ, I think 3 times.
Did you see him live? Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I never got to
He's
see
like,
that.
"Are you kidding me?"
No,
Hello.
yeah.
No,
gonna go to
I
this
saw
is
the Jacksons when I was in like a senior in high.
You saw the
I saw the Jacksons, their last tour.
Wow.
Like, they all came out like
Uh,
it was unbelievable. And then I saw
So awesome. I'm so jealous right now.
Wow.
Like, if only I could see through your eyes, you know? Wow.
so I think it's so interesting that I love this, right? Yes, we do need to bring love into everything, right? Part of love is listening.
right,
Mm.
right.
And
Listening.
listening
Yes.
to others' lived experience.
Yeah,
Mhm.
man.
You know, because Lou, your lived experience is different than mine growing up,
Yes.
right?
100%.
And you too, Fred. You
Yep.
know, and so and I do have to say, like, one of the things that came into my mind, like I said, love Michael Jackson. I loved him, was a big fan. However, he too, I don't know what was happening with him, right? But I do remember when my daughter was little and I'm showing her, I was going through, I didn't realize I was going through chronologically. Look, little girl, this is Michael Jackson. You need to know who this is.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. We're going through videos. She was maybe,
Just a little.
she was little and she's watching the videos. She's watching the videos. We're dancing. And she says, Mommy, why is he white now?
Mhm.
Because, you know, anyway,
But you're right.
Right. Right. But and inside of that, right, there's still that part where we all get into a spot where it's like, right, so does that diminish his value or not? Do we love him or not? Do we make him struggle with what he's struggling with or not? Right. And on all ends, as much as sometimes like Michael, like we love him, right? But he did some things that made us all be like, what is going on here? Right. And with that, there's still that element of understanding that you still need to know about this. This man had some incredible value, right? And regardless of where it is that we can find a place where there's something we don't like, where we live in honor, is we include that person into the fold and the fabric of our humanity, right? Or into our business or into our family, right? And we give them a space to fully express them. Michael Jackson had incredible resources to do whatever he wanted to do. And, you know, again, what he did is what he did. But we are thankful that the people that we have the opportunity to be exposed to, we get to let them be part of our life, right? What Michael brought to the world musically, that's the value that we continuously add to our life, and artists forever are going to continue to pull from that bank that he's poured out, and including, you know, who we were just dancing to, right? Bruno Mars, right? Including him to a big level.
Yes.
But
Yeah, the body of work was amazing, but he was also, and I think just like everybody, right? A product of his environment and perhaps his trauma.
Yes.
Right? I mean,
100%.
from a child, I mean, he was what, 8?
Yeah. He was super young, and but even younger when he started learning. I'm sure he was been training since he was probably born, soon, because his brothers, you know, think about that. You have older siblings that were all doing music. His father was getting them. Of course he was going to be, and then he became the superstar, of course, right? He was the one that was like, whoa, there's something super amazing about this young man. And that just shows you, you know, with all the talent that was in that family, to see, you know, Janet even, you know,
him and Janet, right? But Michael Jackson was the kind of star who from a very young age couldn't live in the world.
No.
Right. No. And that has to, anyway. So, I mean, I could go on about my thoughts about that, but it does relate, because understanding that everybody is impacted by something different. And just because my experience says something,
right,
doesn't mean that that's the experience of everybody else. And I must be open enough to listen, right? And hear people. As much as we all want to say, everybody's all alike, and you know, we don't see color, I don't see differences, and it's kind of hard to not see that anyway. So
That's ultimately where I was trying to get to, is that he pointed out inside of that song is that every culture has value. Everything has a bright thing to look at. And if you're privileged enough to be able to see it and celebrate it. And if you want to be my brother, right? If you want to be my sister, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, what it looks like on the outside. Ultimately, I want to connect to the heart. But connecting to the heart of this 5-liner, we got to get to question number 2, Sandy. We can sit here and just keep on. But so question number 2 would be, what brought you to the automotive industry?
Oh God, like so many people, I fell into it.
You
hear that, especially from women, right? Like, it was not my bright idea to, I'm going to go join the car business. What happened was, I was working here in Sarasota. I was working for a commercial real estate appraiser, and we were in an office park, and the office behind, it was a, small office park. And in the office behind me, can you imagine that I got to know the people who were, like, to say hi and blah, blah, blah. Well, unknown to me, it was the CFO and a dealer. They had just opened their first corporate office for a dealer group. And I got to know the CFO. And one day and it was at a time, but God's timing is perfect, right? For me, always. And I was ready to make a change. And he said, hey, are you interested? And I was like, yeah, sure. I came in, gave my 2 weeks notice. And the very first, that was with Wild Automotive Group. And I stayed with them for 18 and a half years. And much of what I knew about the car business came from them. They allowed me to grow and learn. Just, great people. Well, one of the first things, because Mark's dad at the time, Harold Wild, he was at the end of his life with ALS. And so one of the first things that I did, and I came in, I just wanted to help this family.
Right.
I was like, okay. And so one of the first things I did is that I took from them is planning the afterlife celebration. But it was quite an introduction, because I was like, wait a minute, I'm spending, Harold was an icon in the industry. There was a whole big 1-page spread in automotive news. And so that was how I got in and who I got into it with. And I fell in love, fell into it, and then fell in love with people.
That's it. The people, and that's the whole point of Car Guy Coffee podcast, is to show that the people in this industry are great people. We're not scumbags. We're not thieves. We're not ones that are going to try to take things from you. There is people in this industry like that. But there's also people in mortgages. There's people that are doctors like that. There's people that are just teachers like that. It's just, there's people. When there's people, there's going to have the ups and there's going to be downs. But for the majority, there's so many amazing people in this industry. So when you get into it and you find that network, you fall in love with it. And just like Sandy just said, you can't help but want to be part of it, because you know how impactful it can be. This is how much room for improvement there is in this industry, yet there's plenty of hearts that are willing to be part of it. This movement, this change, whether it's WOCAN, women in automotive, whether it's, Car Guy Coffee out here trying to do what we do, we all have a mission. It's just to raise each other up, be a voice for each other, impact, make a change. I love it. I love this. And I love that we're talking about diversity. We're talking about inclusion. We're talking about equity with people, because all those things are so important, more so now than ever. I think it's always been important, but I think talking about it now is more important than it's ever been, because I think a lot of people discount too many other folks. Oh, because of this or because of that or whatever, instead of, what's the word that you say for honor all the time? What's that saying?
What's the definition of honor?
Yeah.
So honor is being able to love somebody for who they are, not being tripped up by who it is that they're not.
Yes.
Bill Johnson says that.
And I love that. And the reason why I love that is because that is exactly right. In our past, if you would have known me years ago, you wouldn't like me. I was a liar. I did all the things that I shouldn't have done. I was a nice guy. We would have probably enjoyed a drink together, but you wouldn't have trusted me, right? You would have thought I would have stolen everything and tried to hide everything that the typical car guy is thought of. I was, because that's what I was taught. But I realized I wasn't fulfilled. I wasn't sleeping well. I wasn't really consistently making the money that I'd make great money one month. Next month I wouldn't, because I just lived that life. And what I did was I realized I needed to change, and I needed to do that. I need to be more honorable, right? And now that I'm more honorable, I look at people and their honor, and I'm looking at people not by what they did in the past, but what they're doing right now and what they're going to be like in the future. So I get told a lot, oh, Fred, you got such a nice heart. You look at people. No, I give everybody a clean slate when I meet them. I'm not going to, you're going to tell me how you feel about them. Great. But that's between you two. I'm going to give you a clean slate, and I want to get to know you, because what you were yesterday is not who you are today. Because if you knew me yesterday, like I told you just a second ago, you would not like me today. So let's, and that's why it's important to have.
I knew you back then, and I love you.
Well, I mean, we were cool, but you know what I mean? Like,
but I totally know.
I love you anyway. Yeah. I love you because of your faults.
Yeah. Right. And he loved me, right? He's seen some of the worst that anybody in the world knows of Lou Ramirez, right? And he loves me still. And the same, and that's where truly I believe love shows its face, right? Is when there's something not to love, when there's something to disagree with, when there's something to cover with grace and with mercy and with true love, right? And that's what's incredible, because when that gets applied, then you really learn how to love others, and then unlock it unto where others learn how to love. And that's where we ultimately, as solutionaries, we will preach that number one, right? Is to make sure that we are leading with love. And inside of that, sometimes love comes in voices that hurt us, but also hurt us in a good way, right? Sometimes we can get scathed, whether by mentors or leaders or friends, right? And inside of that, there's so many people inside of our life that we let in, that can bring that truth to us. And that's definitely something that we want to dig into as we continue this 5-liner.
Whoa, right? So 100%. And that's exactly, I appreciate you for tossing that up and giving me that whoa. This next question for you. I know as we've been coming up, you've met some great people. I know you've talked about who brought you in this business, what got you want to be part of this business. But we've had mentors. We've had people who've shown us the way. And we've been fortunate enough to be able to mentor others, right? But at the end of the day, being the mentoree is sometimes the best part, right? When you're growing, when you're willing to be an empty cup so that people can pour into you. Who have been some mentors for you along the way?
Oh, gosh. I mean, my whole life, I've been so blessed to be not like formal mentor relationships, right? But when I was young, my Aunt Jackie was a big, she was like my role model, right? Like she just did what she believed. Sometimes we didn't always agree, but she lived as she believed, and she worked for it. I mean, she was like in her 60s and decided to run for office. Like it was a local office, but I just really looked up to her. She was a performer.
Right.
And then as I grew, there is here in Florida, I'm from Baltimore. When I moved to Florida, yeah, be more. There is a wise woman. I recommend everybody get a wise woman in their life.
Amen. Amen.
She is kind of like my spiritual advisor. Her name is Fudgy. What an awesome name. She's actually from Louisville.
Oh, very cool.
Hey,
shout out. What's up?
Like from Louisville. Or Louisville, I think is how she says it.
No, it's again,
everyone says it different.
Say it how you say it.
He says Louisville, I say Louisville.
Right, yeah, everybody
it's a little different. Yeah.
And in this business, some of my I heard Erica coin a word the other day called friendtor, right? Like I have friends that are mentors. Carrie Wise is one. I've had not just mentors, but sponsors. Carrie is a sponsor of mine. Right. A sponsor is somebody who they're talking about you when you're not in the room. They are using their power and privilege to promote you.
Right.
Which is an amazing gift, right? You got to have some power and privilege to be able to do that. Corey Mosley, right? Put me on some shows. I did a thing with CBT. Other people that have influenced me, Damien Boudreau, right? Like I mean, we jumped on a call one time and it ended up being 3 hours long. I was crying at the end of it. Like literally, like, I mean, like he's like a dive, like he gets right to it.
He
Frank,
does.
Frank Lopes, right?
Yeah.
One of my very, very good friends when I went out on my own,
Yeah.
right? And that's really when I started getting into the larger work, like 5 years ago, right? Is when I started getting into the larger world of automotive.
Right.
What
a good friend to have in that.
Frank, he's the reason that I was ever at a digital dealer. He gave me a ticket on it was Auto Dealer Live show that used to be on with Dave Vila. You know, I mean, I've been, like I said, I've been blessed along the way, right? With people that just get put in my path. And I know that there's more. Like I could name a Bobby Heron. Bobby Heron is somebody who
I've recently been connecting with Bobby, and I'm excited to work with her. We have a project that we're working together on, so that's pretty cool. Bobby,
oh, I'm so excited! I need to give her a call. Actually, Bobby, I tell this story because Bobby, for me, there are people who naturally do inclusion in some ways, right? And there's a name for it that is escaping me exactly what it is, but it's kind of like that person who, let's say you're sitting in a restaurant. Let's say we're at Digital Dealer at lunch, right? And there's a table that's kind of full. And one lone person is kind of walking up looking for a place to sit. Bobby is this person who says, hey, scooch over, everybody, pulls a chair and brings that lone person into the table.
That's awesome. That's her.
So it absolutely is. She did that for me. And I started to get to know some people at a conference. So,
that's great. That's awesome.
And giving it back is really important. Some of my favorite clients, like I have clients that I am mentoring new HR people in the group.
That is awesome. That's what I'm talking about. You know, and that's amazing, you know, and you named some really, they weren't awesome name drops, but those are just awesome good people. If you guys don't know who they are, you guys need to go back, replay this, write those names down, some of them, get to know them on social, because they are like that. You know, they don't have to necessarily be direct mentors. Follow what they do, because they give up so much free information on social media, like Frank and so many others. And Bobby is just amazing. She's a genius. She works really hard. She's got a great personality, and she's all about helping her dealer partners. You know, they're not clients to her, they're partners, they're friends with her, right? And I absolutely love that about her heart. And like you said, she's willing to open it up to anyone and give them a chance. If you're a motivated person, these are the type of people that want to know you. I love to know people who are motivated because it makes me excited. It gets me that energy, that juice. You know, we call that new guy enthusiasm, right? Or new gal enthusiasm. When they come in, they have this enthusiasm. If we could just bottle that and put it somewhere, and it feeds into me, and I love that. So I'm glad that you have that. You know, in these things with mentorships, we still make mistakes. We still do things that sometimes we fall, but we learn from those things, Lou.
Yes, we do. Yes, we learn from all of those, or we repeat them. If we don't learn from things, we repeat them, right? We make those mistakes happen again. And what's awesome is that we do have all these incredible victories, but sometimes we can attribute some of our greatest wins to being from something that came from our hardest lesson, right? Our biggest slug in the gut. What for you has been your hardest lesson, Sandy?
Oh my God, so many. So you know, but I will tell you, and it kind of directly relates to me getting this shirt.
Hey.
You know, last year, I mean, so my journey into entrepreneurship itself was a lesson, right? So many along the way. The like learning to listen to myself, because I got this little voice, right? I think we all have it. And so many times in the past, I'd be like, why didn't I listen to myself? Like I knew what to do. I knew, and I didn't do it because I listened to other people. So learning to listen to myself, especially when I opened, because there were people, and some who loved me very much, out of fear, were like, no, just get a job. You know, don't do this, just get a job. That was one lesson. Moving on, there were just keep going.
Absolutely.
Right? No matter what.
Right.
You know, the life of an entrepreneur, I learned, is kind of like, okay, I'm doing this. Okay, it's working. Oh shit. How am I going to pay the bills next month?
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
it goes up and down and up and down. So getting comfortable with change, right? Ever changing. Learning to build relationships. And then in 2021, like right before I met you guys, I had built a recruiting business. And I don't really talk about this very much. I'm going to talk about it in a very, very broad way. I experienced a huge loss. Just a huge loss. So what I learned was, number one, I need to have really everything in writing, even though I think we're friends. Right. Big business lesson. My mistake was not having an operating agreement for an LLC that was open. Right. So, and you know, beyond the business part of that, my heart was broken.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's the worst part. Take away business, take away all money. It's the feeling that your trust, that heart, that like you love them. And you're like, why did you like break that with me? You know, that's tough. That's tough.
Yeah. Without talking to me, like it was, I don't want to go into the specifics of it. Right. Because the one thing that I've learned in my life is that when I retell the details of specific stories, I relive it emotionally.
Absolutely.
And I don't want to do that. Right.
I don't want
to.
Absolutely. Happy, go. Yeah. Forget focus, flying, keep growing.
But you learned from it, right?
You all gave me this shirt. Yes. And that's part of what Damien Boudreau helped me look at is that, so what did I learn? What new skills did I get? Because it was a recruiting business. So I have new skills. And then this was the shirt I wanted that was at your booth. Yes. Because that is where I was last June. I was working on forgiving.
Yeah.
And focusing and continuing on my journey.
Amen.
Right. Because just because some bad shit happened doesn't mean that my life is over, right? Or that, I lost a whole bunch of money, but that's not money is you were talking about it before, like Fred, and about the thought that came to my mind when you were talking about what the caricature of our dealer is and always out to get you is greed, right? Like greed makes people do things.
Oh, that's way outside their character. It's the devil in them,
And I don't want to be that person. That's not who I want to be. So that's why I wanted this actual shirt.
Oh.
You know, and I've learned that forgiveness is, while it's a process, it's also an event. Like
it's a choice.
You get there, then you're there. You give it up.
Yeah. You know, and what I love about that. Thank you, and I know that makes Lou want to tear up right now.
For real.
The thing is that, you know, we say forgive, we never say forget, because, you know, we don't want you to forget about it, because you got to learn. You have to know that it happened, and you have to own that it happened, because you're forgiving yourself in a lot of cases and things that you did wrong. But most importantly, even with other people, it's almost harder to forgive yourself in a lot of things. Like, but when you can forgive somebody else, it makes it easier for you to. When you can forgive yourself, it makes it easier for you to be able to forgive others. 100%.
I'm going to tell you, and maybe this will help anybody who's in a place where they've done something that they're having a hard time forgiving themselves. And this comes from my wise woman. There was somebody else who was saying to her, I just can't forgive myself. I can't forgive myself. And Fudgy looked at this person and said, so do you think that God forgives you? And that person said, well, yeah, of course. You know, God is love. God. And Fudgy, this is Fudgy. She was like, well, then who do you think you are?
Right. Come on.
If God is forgiving, to not forgive yourself. Right.
Yeah. Because, you know, 100%.
Come on.
And it's so much, it's hard, because the thing about the stuff that we don't forgive, it's excuses. And that's why we have to let that go. Because what we do is we say we can't do it because of that. We say it's not possible because of this, when those things are possible for everyone. It's, you know, there's not just one guy out there who could be Jeff Bezos. There's not just one guy who could be Grant Cardone, or it could be one gal out there who could be Sandy, right? There's a lot of us out there that could be anything we want to be. It's really, the idea is just to be the best version of yourself. Right. Let that stuff go. Understand that you can only control what you're doing. Just have a good attitude, go out there, do your best, even when it's not working. Like you said, you're going to go through failures, but learn from that. What lesson did you learn, Damian Boudreaux? I love that. What did you learn? What new skill did you get from that? And that is what should excite you. That's why you see people who are very skilled, they have screwed up so many times, or have had things happen to them so many times, that they learn new skills every time. Those are the best of the best, the ones who are not scared to fail, the ones who are able to forgive, focus, and fly, and keep growing, just like our friend Sandy. So let me ask you this, Sandy. I'm going to get to this last question because I'm excited to hear this. We talked about your why. We've talked about what got you in this business, the mentors along the way, and some great ones you've had. We've talked about the failures and the lessons that we learned from those, right? But let's talk about the greatest reward you've had up to this point. What would you consider the greatest reward in your heart for everything that you've done up to this moment in your life?
Oh,
my little girl, my daughter. Oh my God, hang on a second.
Oh, you're good, hon. Take your time. Take your time, Andy.
That. Like, I've heard you do these, right? And
we've said that.
You know, and
oh my gosh, yeah.
Okay. Oh, this book, by the way, is a great book if anybody wants to get it.
Good. Inclusion 360.
Yes, it's a really great book. My daughter, she's paying attention, right? So the greatest gift I have is, you know, like, she now calls me, like, you know, she'll refer to me as a BB. I'm a bad bitch, which is
good. Right. Hey, get it.
I'm the OG.
Right. Yes.
Right? Or, you know, and she's killing it. My kid is killing it. She's getting ready to graduate from Full Sail University.
Wow.
For her 19th anniversary. I mean, her 19th birthday with a bachelor's degree.
Yeah.
You know? And yeah, she got a job. She's like a junior talent agent. She's killing it. You know, she does a podcast with like industry news. Like, I'm like, what, you know, and
wow.
She did this, one of the first things that she had to do for her portfolio was a video. And it was like a personal branding video. So she sends me this YouTube, and it starts out talking about me. Right. And all the things that she's learned from me that I didn't realize she was paying attention to, you know, and the last thing she said, I think, is one of my greatest gifts. And she said, well, last thing she said about me, she said, but most of all, my mom has taught me what it means to be kind. That always makes me cry.
You're making me over here too. You're getting me right here, my heart. I'm telling you, I do got the feels. Bam. I'm not crying. You're crying. You're crying.
You are.
I was always the kid who cried at Little House on the Prairie, like any TV show. That was me. My family always called me. My nickname growing up was Sarah Bernhardt, because I cried with people. If something they did, you know, if something touches you, it's going to touch me.
Amen. I love it.
I don't know. Maybe I'm empathetic.
You are much of an empath, I would say.
But that's a good thing to have, you know, and that's something that's it's beyond. That's what makes
you like your kids.
I mean, why do you think that makes you a powerhouse in HR? You know, having that, you know, it's powerhouse in life, you know, and when you hear your legacy, your child say that you taught me how to be kind. Yeah. I mean, that's what we want our children to be. Like, I think that's one of the biggest features, like benefits, like, you know, like the things that you want your children to have that inside them. And she's like, my mother taught me that, but there's so much more. But that right there is such a big piece of it. Knowing that if I have empathy and I have kindness in my heart, that life will just come to me as long as I put the work behind it. It's true. Know, that's why we as solutionaries believe the first thing we lead everything is with love, right? That's our number one core value. And that's what you've taught her, is how to be somebody with love. Wow.
Well, you know, I hope that the other thing that I can teach her, and it kind of relates to forgive, focus, fly, that I think is so important. While forgiving does take love, it also does not mean, well, it also means that I love myself enough
Yeah.
that I'm not going to engage in that behavior with whoever again.
Mm-hmm.
Learning how to decipher what are my core values and aligning those values with organizations, people, places, and things. That's really important. And that for me, that becomes really important because I have to when I'm doing that, and I make mistakes, right? Like I mess up. I am so not perfect. And thank God I'm not. But then I can live with integrity, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I'm living as I believe and my actions show you that, that's I'm good. Like it doesn't matter to me how much money I make and how much, I want to make enough to
You will live an abundant life
Yep.
because you're doing that, though. Abundance comes in so many ways. It's not just money. It's the time that you spend. It's the relationships you build. It's the legacy that you pour through your children. Those things at the end of the day, when we're sitting there and it's our last moments in it and we know it, and we're sitting there thinking about our lives. It's not the money that we made. It's not the items that we own. It's the people, it's the moments, it's the places, it's the memories. Those are the ones we need to do. And if you do those and you do it with love, you do it out of kindness, and you do it making sure that you're just that person that just loves and you're passing that on and understanding it's okay to make mistakes. That is the biggest part. We hold ourselves down too much because of our mistakes, and it's okay. Matter of fact, like you said, it gives us more skills for the future. Even in our personal relationships, my friends. So make sure that you guys learn those skills, earn those skills, and go out there and be the best version of yourself, just like our friend Sandy, her daughter out there doing amazing things. And I know there's going to be even more amazing. I know we could talk to you in a year. It'll be the same answer, and it's going to be something even bigger, right? And I know that. And that's why we love you. We honor you. Thank you for coming on our show today. Lou, what's up, bro?
Oh, man, this has been an incredible brew.
Impactful, man. My heart is warm right now.
This definitely is why we love having these conversations with real people that are doing real things and have real stories. The quality of Car Guy Coffee has just been completely upgraded by this incredible car gal.
That premium brew right
pouring
there.
it out and even squeezing out some of the waterworks from the face. Right, it happens. We feel things. We're emotional people, especially inside of sales, and nothing will ever make any of us apologize for really feeling what we do. And that's what I love about the dance. That's what I love about the way that we do business, that we do it passionately, because we only get one go at this, right? We can all be the same because we're all ourself, right? And if you are completely you, fully alive, then that, my friends, car guys and car gals, understand the glory of the Lord is man fully alive, woman fully alive, us being ourselves. You never come more alive than when you see your kids fully expressed and alive, right? Their victories become our victories to another level. So seeing that, if that's what kind of a father or mother we can be, imagine how incredibly great our God is. And you pointed it out again, that if he forgives, then why should we not?
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, he's forgiven me, and that's why
He forgave me a long time ago. No doubt about it.
It's done. So car guys, car gals, remember, forgive, focus, fly, because we are flying. Tonight, we are literally flying to Philly. Gonna fly now, right? It is about to go down. We are pumped up to do that. But sister, you have been dropping some incredible wisdom on the mic today. But how do people get a hold of you before we wrap up this brew?
All right. Well, anywhere on social media, DM me.
She's there. This one and only.
Anywhere.
My cell phone number is 941-306-8310. My email address is sandy@innovativeautohr.com. So I'd love to hear from people.
Awesome. Well,
This has been awesome. Thank
this
you.
has been fun. You've had a great a great deposit inside of our hearts today.
Yes.
We're so thankful for it. But we got to take it on up. We got to get that music moving us as we groove on with the rest of our day. Double fisting 5-liners today in the Car Guy Cafe, and we are so thankful that we are finishing this off in a dancing way with the incredible, the one,
The only Sandy Zannino.
I am Lou Ramirez, the Car Guy.
And I'm Frelin Arts, the subprime hero.
And you've been Solutions on the Car Guy Coffee Podcast. Let's forgive, focus, and fly as we head on out of here and enjoy the rest of our day. On 3, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Forgive, focus, fly, and keep growing. Keep growing.
That's what I'm talking about.
Peace.
See you later, Car Guys and Car Guys.